I wouldn't say I hate digital lettering because I really don't. But why do I say that I love chalk more than digital? Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Nathaniel here, and this week I'm going to share with you why I like chalk lettering more than digital lettering. So I live and breathe chalk. Fun fact, both of my passions are chalk related. I love climbing and I love chalk lettering too, and both of them started around 2 to 3 years ago. During my childhood, I already loved the physical sensation of writing on notebooks and chalkboards. I still remember the days when my teachers back in school would tell me to write stuff on the blackboard to be saved and not to be erased, like who are the class monitors or who are the noisy people and what the assignments are, and that was fun to do. I was also the resident writer for any class presentations for my group. I loved writing the keynotes and the outlines for our presentations on manila paper back then. I am not old, okay? Those were the times where we still have our projectors and manila paper and our school had transitioned between them. I'm a millennial who happened to grow up with both analog and digital tools for learning. Not to brag, but I think that was because I wrote fast and also beautifully. You know what? Those were the days. I never really thought that I would be doing something like this when I grew older and eventually evolved into something that I'm passionate about. I do enjoy working with digital stuff. I use the iPad a lot. It's definitely required for the things that will sit on the internet. But not only that, there are a lot of different benefits to using digital lettering. It is great if you require pixel perfect precision that you usually cannot achieve through handmade stuff, for example, logos or creating stencils for computer controlled stuff like laser engraving. Another benefit would be it's easy to make changes along the way. If the client requires revisions, it's relatively simpler to do than drawing on pen and paper. At the same time, it's also easy to duplicate and create other versions of the same work. For example, you want to change the colors or you want to change the size to shrink it down a bit. So working on digital makes it easier for you to mass produce your work. It's easy for you to send it to a printer to have it printed and sold online or offline through bazaars and other shops. And of course, there are a lot more benefits to it. I wouldn't say I hate digital lettering because I really don't. I would be a hypocrite if I do say that. I just kind of prefer that my final output is in chalk. It just feels different when you see your work living and breathing in the space designated for it. Like chalkboards, I see them on cafes and restaurants. When I walk past them, I feel a sense of pride that I did that. Sure, you can turn digital work into printed posters and signs too, but it doesn't feel the same. To be honest with you, I would prefer seeing handmade and hand-drawn signs over vinyl signs any day. And even though I say that, a lot of my work is actually a mixture of both digital and analog lettering. To illustrate, my typical workflow goes like this. It goes from digital to analog. I would research, I would create drafts and sketches, and I would refine my work on the iPad using the PROCREATE app most of the time before I transfer it to a final chalkboard. But why do I say that I love chalk more than digital? Because there is just so much charm to drawing things the old school way. There's so much feels, and it is more human and it's more accessible because it is so organic. And I also like the feeling of being able to manipulate the chalk however I see fit on the chalkboard itself. I can smudge it, I can wet it a little bit to create a different sort of texture, I can put dust on it. It's the tactile sensation of using my fingers and other tools to create my lettering work. Then that's something that is hard to replicate when you're doing things digitally. Of course, you can have a paper-like screen protector simulate the feel of the paper, but it's still different when you're trying to smudge chalk physically. There's this sensation that cannot be replicated through digital tools. And if you're running a business or you are a business owner who feels like maybe chalkboard is something that can benefit you, I explain in that video what are the benefits to having a chalkboard and how you can use the chalkboard to attract more clients for your business. You can check the card at the top right of the screen. Don't get me wrong, I really don't hate digital lettering. At the end of the day, it's just a matter of preference. Of course, the amount of effort may vary between the two, but we all know that as humans, we have our own innate biases. Won't you agree that handmade items and hand-drawn items tend to be more appreciated because they feel more human, we can engage with it more, there's less friction to appreciate those kinds of art. It feels like it's more premium because they run in limited quantities too. Imagine if you price a chalkboard that's hand-drawn and handmade as opposed to printing a couple of vinyl pieces that can replicate the design, but the feel is certainly different. How about you? Do you like analog lettering more or do you like digital lettering more? Let me know down in the comments. And if you want to learn more about layouts, I created a free resource that you can download when you sign up to my email list. I'll link it out in the description below. By signing up, you also get surprises and gifts that I don't share elsewhere. And if you want to be informed about my latest Skillshare class that's launching later this month, I'm also announcing it first on my email list, so be sure to be part of my chalk fam. And this is a short and sweet video of why I prefer doing the analog chalk lettering versus digital chalk lettering. Thanks for watching and I will see you again in the next video.